guys, how are you? Today's going to be a really cool video about a pretty simple but very cool and utilitarian mod you can do to your 3rd gen Camaro. Now, if you know, these cars don't really come with cup holders. Well, they don't come with cup holders, but there are companies now that are 3D printing. You might have seen these things right here. They're cup holders that fit in place of your ashtray at the forward part of your center console, right underneath your stereo. The main company that makes these is a company called Shipsoft. I'll link them down below. Shipsoft. I don't have any kind of affiliate with them or anything. And I bought this. So the modification I'm doing is going to be backlighting this logo, so when you turn your headlights on and your shift indicator lights come on, and in my instance my faceplate bezel for my stereo comes on, the Camaro logo comes on, this logo will also come on. It's the Camaro red, white, and blue logo. Similar to how the Mustangs have the Chinese flag, the Camaros have the American flag right here. And as you'll see from that B-roll, it looks pretty cool, and this is pretty easy to do. First, you got to order this right here. This is the cup holder from Shipsoft. You're gonna have to ask him, you're gonna have to email him and say, or put it in the comments, and just say that you want one of these with the transparent logo in the middle so you can shine light through. So, see how it's backlit in there? So when you're ordering, either put this in the comments or email the email address on the site. He's really responsive. Next thing you want to get is these little pigtails. These are the 194 LED bulbs, which are like just indicator bulbs for like side markers and stuff. And then you can get your 194 LED bulbs of choice. I think I'm gonna switch out and get some like some diffused bulbs for this application, but I have these right now that'll work. And then I'll link these little pigtails down below as well. They come in like a 4-pack like this, and they're just your positive and negative with a 194 outlet on the bottom. So what you're gonna end up doing is you're gonna wire these into the same wires that power on your shift indicator lights, so that this bulb comes on with that. And then to mount it, all you're gonna need is a little bit of epoxy. I just got this from Harbor Freight. It's like $5 for the instant setting epoxy adhesive. I got a little piece of scrap plastic laying around, and I kind of trimmed it down. I made like a little curve here, as you can see. I made a little bit of a beveled curve there. It's not perfect by any means, but when I put this up against here, it'll somewhat kind of match up to that radius of that curve. So, and I can get some adhesive in there and make it stick. So this is like a 1" by 2" piece of plastic. This is literally just like you can see the Beehive logo on there. This is my old sprinkler controller. The plastic from it, I just kind of ground it down in my little bench grinder here. So finding some plastic, you're going to be adhesiving it onto here, adhesiving it onto here. First, what we're going to do is we're going to mock up where it's going to be on here, and it's just going to be resting on here and then butting up against this side, because one of the cup holders is shorter than that side. So it's going to be sitting here and then butting up there like that. And then we're going to be drilling a hole through here to match the circumference of this right here. And this is going to set in there like that, it's going to set in there like that, and then it's going to shine the light up through it. So once I have my piece kind of mocked up in here, I'm going to take a Sharpie, and I'm just kind of look down here, down the barrel of this, and kind of eyeball where I think the center of this should be. So I think the hole should be right about there. Here we go. Now we just got to see where the happy spot is to where we want this light to sit in there. We could sit it right there just like that if we wanted to, which would be fine. The problem is, what I was hoping for was something with like a flat mating surface here, but this is more, it's got a slope to it out. So I got that down to 9/16 right there. Okay, we got our Harbor Freight epoxy. Let me get this out of there. It's a 2-stage, and I believe you just kind of squirt it out and call it good. Oh, it says I'm supposed to roughen smooth surfaces for better abrasion. Put up a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna snap the tip off this little epoxy gun. Gonna get some epoxy onto here. That all soaked in there like that. Okay, got that set on there. Let that dry for a few quick seconds. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to squeeze some of this epoxy right down into this kind of hole here and see if I can angle this piece up a little bit so I can get a straight shot at it and get some of the epoxy down in the cracks there. I wonder if this is one-time use. Probably. Okay, so I'm mixing this epoxy all around and getting it kind of adhered onto here. and mixed up and all up in there. Let's put some on the underside as well. Okay, now let's let that dry for a second. Okay, so it's pretty much dry, and logistically, here's what I'm thinking, right? I think that what I'm going to do, or have to do, is put the bulb into the socket before inserting it into the, so feeding these wires through here, and then having that sit in there like that. The problem with that, I think, is going to be, if this bulb ever needs replaced, getting it out of there and getting it, you can get it out, but getting it back in is going to be a huge pain in the butt. I'm trying to figure out the best way to get this in here. I'm going to order a few different bulbs and see if any of them are shallower, and I want to get some with like a diffusion cap on them and see what that looks like. Okay, so this is day 2. I ordered same-day shipping on some new bulbs. This is the new bulb right here as compared to this bulb. So the difference is going to be, there's a little bit of a height difference. Just enough to make a difference if you ever need to get your finger in here and pull the bulb out and replace the bulb. Also, it is diffused on top. You see this diffusion cover, where this one is just a hard chip light. Under here is a chip light as well, but it has this nice diffusion cover. The distance from this bulb and this surface in here is not very much, so the more we can spread this light out, the better. And it's going to make it softer and a not super harsh shine through. So it's going to be more of a glow versus like a glaring, like harsh light like this. First, we're going to put our light into the socket just to make first install easy, and then we're going to get some of our Harbor Freight epoxy. Turns out the little tab from inside of here snaps on top, and that keeps it from drying out. So I'm going to use the back of this battery box to mix some epoxy up on. We're going to put a little dab on the inside ring here, and then a little dab, some dabs on the mating surface here on the bulb. Using a popsicle stick like last time. So cap off, epoxy more than enough. I'm gonna mix this up real good. Put it on here, around the outsides. Throw some on here around the outer edge, just to help secure it. And we're just going to take our red and black, let's widen this frame up, take our red and black wire, put them through here, get that going in there, and then get this in here like that. And there we go. I'm trying to just kind of hold it in place a little bit as much as I can here to let the epoxy set for like a minute and a half. This is final product. I got it sitting in the vise here so I can let it kind of dry while I go do other stuff. But for now, this is the first part complete. Second part is going to be going into the dash and putting this in. We'll show you how to do that step by step. Okay, so now we're going to take this part of our center console out. We're going to take that out. We're going to take this little thing out, take our spring out. And then there's going to be a little retaining clip here in the middle that we're going to take out as well. See that coming out. And then this is going to slip off. Now we can take our T15s out right here. There's going to be 6 of them. And then this will come out. If you are lucky, you can get it past the stereo base plate, which I did. There we go. That just slips out. And then this right here is actually the wire you're going to be tapping into later on, but we're going to take this harness out, or this bulb out, sorry. So now we're going to take this piece and we're going to go cut it. Okay, so if I have the front matched up here, this is all lined up. My line for the cut, where the edge of this is going to be basically in the middle of this this gap right here. So what I'm going to do is get a straight edge, and I'm going to score this with a razor over and over and over until I can just snap this piece off. So let's do that. So what I'm doing is I'm using a square. And this is a little bit more than half the width of this right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck it in here and bring it all the way to the back. You see there's a little bit of wiggle room with that lip, right? So I'm going to take that square, move it to the back, and I'm going to use this to just cut along this side. I'm not going to put the square on this side and cut this side because my thinking is if there's a little bit too much plastic, I can always just trim it back with like my little bench grinder or something like that. Whereas if I cut too much off, it's not going to look good. So I'm going to have my triangle square thing just like that. And I'm going to start scoring this edge like this. Score and score and score, and I'm always putting tension, pulling this away, like pulling this square. And just keeping this line as straight as I can. Keep my blade sharp. I'm gonna snip that tip off I was just using. With a fresh tip again, do some more scoring. It's not super thick plastic, but it's pretty hard plastic. I'm just scoring, still scoring. Yeah, it's just about ready to give. You might see it separating a little bit. Yeah, I can. Yep. So I just got it scored enough. Let me raise this camera up a little bit. There we go. Boom. There we go. So we got a nice clean cut on this end and this end. And this is what the final product's going to look like when we put it in the car. So you can see that the edges are both straight, which is going to make it look a lot better. I'm going to freshen this up, this whole thing, with like some black plastic restore or some black spray paint. I forgot I didn't hit the record button, but what I did was I used my my little wire strippers, stripped the ends of these wires off. I'll link these wire strippers down below. They make everything really easy. I stripped the ends of these wires off, and then I'm putting what's called a posi tap on. So the posi tap is, if you can see the metal inside of that plastic housing, we're going to slip this sleeve over, and then this plastic housing fits on the wire here, and it's going to screw on, and that wire is connected internally to this, and then on the other end is a spike. So you see the spike there on that end, and we slip the other wire through this threaded piece of plastic that has a little sleeve in here. We thread the wire through there like this is a hot dog bun going around the hot dog, and then when we screw this in, this piercing tip, when we screw this in, makes a connection because it pierces through the wire shielding into the actual wire. And now we have a connection from here to this wire with a posi tap. I'll link these down below as well. Okay, so if you can see here, we've got the posi taps hooked up to the black and the red with the red wire and the black wire, right? Respectively red to red, black to black, into this little pigtail that holds our bulb. So now when we turn on this is my shift indicator bulb. So when I turn this on, this should come on, this shift indicator bulb, and this should come on. See? That's on, and so is this. And when this is tight in there, you won't be able to see anything except for, like, if you see the light coming out of this right here. The only thing left to do is to fit this in here, and we're gonna have to do a little bit of trimming to get it in here. It seems like width-wise, I won't have to trim anything off this, but I will have to trim off of this edge right here, because this will slide in like that. It just won't go all the way in. Oh, there goes one of my... So first I'm gonna try a Dremel with just a sanding tool on it, and let's see how that works. Yep, now we're all the way in there and we can screw that down. So each lip is inside of this little thing right now, and that's how you know you've got it done correctly. So I'm gonna bring the camera in and show you what all I dremeled. Okay, so dremeling, first I started with these sides, and there's two, if you can see here, there's like two layers of plastic. There's this top layer, and then there's a sub layer of plastic down here. So I just dremeled through both. I had to dremel through both because I had to get a little bit wider, because this was out to like here. So I dremeled those like a little circle there. Same thing over here. I dremeled kind of a little circle-ish shape here. And then on the top there, I dremeled each one for each cup holder. I drilled about, like a millimeter or two out on this lip right there. And then this edge right here, I dremeled all the way. There was a lip up to like the middle of where this hole is all the way across. I dremeled all that off as well. All right, so it's installed, car is on, so you can see all my lights in here. This is my HU mount light, this is the light from the stereo, and then this is my light from the actual LED we just installed right here. And again, we got the cup holders too, which is great. So I can put a cup here, I can put a cup here. This one's a little less deep on this side due to the nature of how they had to design it. It's a little bit deeper on that side, but that still holds the cup just fine. In this instance, a Diet Pepsi. All in all, this is a really dang cool mod, especially for night driving. If you're driving at night at all, this looks really cool in here. It looks like it fits, like it just looks seamless, which is really good. which is hard to do with a lot of mods. So again, I'll link every single thing down below in the description to do this. Thanks again for watching, guys. My next video is going to be kind of like an all-encompassing all the modifications I've done to this car, so stay tuned for that. And thanks again for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye.